Hello there, welcome once again to the Dark Moon podcast, where today we're exploring the depths of the mind, the unseen, the forgotten and the hidden. Today we journey into a place that exists within all of us. It's a place where darkness dwells within. It's not just a poetic metaphor or a horror story trope. This is real. This is psychological. This is the realm of Carl Jung's shadow self. The depths of the unconscious mind and the places that we're afraid to look. This is my favourite place in the whole wide world, for this is where I found myself and my own inner power and my own inner strength. Jung once said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." In other words, if you truly want to grow, to understand yourself and to shape your own reality, you must venture into places which you fear the most. But what exactly is this darkness? Why does it exist? And how can we work with it rather than be consumed by it? And that's what we're diving into today. The shadow, the hidden side of the self. Carl Jung's concept of the shadow was one of the most important ideas in the depth of psychology. It is everything we repress, reject, and refuse to acknowledge ourselves. Society teaches us from an early age what is acceptable and what is unacceptable, what is normal, what is not normal. We are so conditioned to behave in ways that align with social norms that everything that doesn't fit into that little tiny box gets pushed into the unconscious mind. Love, light and happy bunnies, that's what we all have to concentrate on. And the rest of it gets shoved under the carpet. The shadow is not inherently evil, though it often contains aspects of ourselves that we label as such. It's raw, primal, basic, instinctual. It holds anger, jealousy, shame, selfishness, and rage. But it's also creativity, passion, and power. Everything that doesn't fit into the ideal version of ourselves that we present to the world. It gets buried in the dark. This creates a paradox. The more we repress, the stronger the shadow becomes. It doesn't disappear, it waits. It seeps through the cracks of our masks when we least expect it, through irrational reactions, self-sabotage, projection, and most of all, destructive behaviour. Carl believed that if you do not confront our shadow, it will control us from behind the scenes. He wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." So how do we face the darkness without letting it consume us? So let's explore the place where darkness dwells. There's a psychological and spiritual descent that must take place. A journey into what Jung called the personal and the collective unconscious. Many traditions call this the dark night of the soul. It's a time of crisis, of breaking down illusions, and facing the raw, untamed parts of ourselves. Jung, inspired by alchemy and mythology, often used the descent as a metaphor for deep psychological work. Think of ancient myths. In Anna's journey into the underworld, Orpheus descending into Hades, even Dante's Inferno. All of these stories are symbolic of inner work, of going into the darkness to retrieve something valuable. In practical terms, what does this look like? Shadow work. It's the practice of uncovering and integrating the shadow. It involves deep self-reflection, journaling, dream analysis, and even an active imagination. A technique Jung developed when one engaged in dialogues with different aspects of the psyche. Dreams and unconsciousness. Jung believed that dreams were the language of the unconscious. Paying attention to your dreams can reveal what your mind is trying to tell you, what's been repressed, and what fears are lurking and what needs to be healed. Projection awareness. One of the most insidious ways the shadow operates is through projection. What we dislike or judge in others can often reflect something unresolved in ourselves. Recognize and owning these projections is a powerful way to reclaim the hidden parts of ourselves. I remember once when I worked as a temp in London, and there was this lady who, she was timekeeping. If I was like 2 minutes late, she would be looking her watch, tutting at me. She used to drive me nuts with go to the toilet and she'd come back and she'd be looking at her watch. And I realized later that she actively represented an aspect of myself that does the same. And I was thankful for her to actually point this out to me. Creative expression, art, music, writing, and movement, dance, can be powerful tools for working with the shadow. Even when words fail, symbols and images can express the inevitable. Why do we have to embrace the darkness? If shadow's so dangerous, why not keep repressing it? Shove it under the carpet. Why not why do we have to go into that dark place at all? Because it holds our power. We're mindless idiots without it. The parts of ourselves that we reject are the keys to our greatest potential. It makes you, you. When integrated, the shadow transforms from a destructive force into a source of strength, creativity, and most of all, authenticity. The darkness is not the enemy. It's the neglected half of our wholeness. Jung saw this integration process as part of what he called individuation, the journey of becoming a whole self-actualized individual. And only by accepting and working with our inner darkness can we break free from the cycles of unconscious behavior that truly shape our destiny. By going into the place where darkness dwells, we do not lose ourselves, we find ourselves. And this was the greatest lesson I ever learned. I could find myself, my strength, something that was solid. There's nothing solid in this world of light of illusion, nothing safe, but inside, in the darkness, that is where I found something solid, something safe. Closing thoughts. Jung's work shows that in the darkness is not something to be feared, but something to be understood. The shadow is not a monster to be slain, but is part of ourselves longing to be seen. When I found all the monstrous bits of myself, it was quite an eye-opening experience. I am the monster, and I'm happy about that, because I can not tame it, but hold it, and hold it as something precious. It's raw life force, raw untamed power. All that grief and pain and anger and rage is braided into this darkness that becomes an aspect of ourselves and society tries to strip away. They often say that anger is the part that loves you the most because it's still fighting. To walk into the darkness is to reclaim yourself. It's to take back the parts of your soul that you abandoned long ago. And in doing so, you step into a true power. A power of self-awareness, power of transformation, the power of owning every part of who you are. So, I'm going to leave you with this. Next time you feel the darkness rise within you, don't run. Don't turn away. When you feel rage, feel anger, feel powerlessness, the world is projecting powerlessness at us big time. Don't turn away. Sit with it. Feel its edges. Ask it what it has to teach you. Let it show you what you've been avoiding. Because in that darkness, buried deep beneath the fear, there is something waiting for you. And that something is the real you. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Please share it around and like and put your comments on it. And let me know how you feel about it. Take care now. Bye now.